You might think you've played every open-world game out there, but chances are you've missed a lot of great ones. So in this video, we're going to take a look at 18 open-world games you've probably never played before. No Man's Sky. If you still think of No Man's Sky as the game that launched in 2016, you're missing one of gaming's biggest comeback stories. Today, the moment you leave a planet's atmosphere and fly straight into space without a loading screen still feels magical. Every planet offers something different. Strange creatures, dangerous storms, exotic landscapes, and resources waiting to be discovered. Exploration is the heart of the experience. One minute you're scanning alien wildlife, the next you're uncovering ancient ruins or building a massive base on a world nobody else has ever seen. The game constantly rewards curiosity. Add co-op into the mix, and exploring the universe alongside friends becomes an adventure generator that never really runs out of surprises. The game that once struggled to meet expectations has evolved into something far greater than anyone imagined. Arkham Knight. Few games make you feel like Batman quite as convincingly as Arkham Knight. Gotham City is your playground, and moving through it is incredibly satisfying. Launch yourself from a rooftop, glide between skyscrapers, grapple across the skyline, then instantly drop into combat without missing a beat. The addition of the Batmobile changes everything. One second you're racing through the streets in pursuit of criminals, the next you're switching into battle mode and unloading missiles on enemy drones. Combat remains one of the best melee systems ever created, rewarding quick reactions and stylish takedowns. Gotham is packed with side activities, hidden secrets, and countless Riddler challenges that constantly pull you off the main path. Years after release, Arkham Knight still delivers one of the most immersive superhero sandboxes ever made. Infamous Second Son. Second Son turned Seattle into a giant superpower playground. From the very beginning, the game encourages experimentation, and every new ability dramatically changes how you move through the city. Smoke powers let you launch through ventilation shafts and shoot across rooftops at incredible speeds. Neon powers transform traversal into a high-speed light show as you sprint up buildings and zip through the streets faster than traffic. Combat is equally flashy, with explosions, energy blasts, and destructive abilities constantly lighting up the battlefield. Capturing enemy districts feels rewarding because every victory unlocks new opportunities to strengthen your powers. The morality system also adds replay value, changing both your abilities and story outcomes depending on whether you embrace heroism or chaos. Even years later, few open-world games make movement this fun. Once Human. Once Human takes the survival genre and injects it with bizarre sci-fi horror, the world feels dangerous from the moment you step outside your base. Mutated creatures roam abandoned towns, massive monsters dominate entire regions, and nearly every location hides something unexpected. Building a base isn't just about survival, it's about creating a safe haven in a world that's constantly trying to kill you. Resource gathering, crafting, farming, and automation all feed into a progression loop that keeps you chasing the next upgrade. Combat becomes increasingly intense as you encounter terrifying deviants, each requiring different tactics to defeat. The game shines even brighter with friends, where coordinating defenses, exploring dangerous zones, and taking down giant bosses creates some genuinely memorable moments. For a free-to-play title, it offers an impressive amount of content and variety. Icarus. Most survival games let you settle down and slowly build a permanent home. Icarus does the exact opposite. Every mission feels like a high-stakes expedition into hostile territory. You drop onto the planet with limited resources, race against environmental threats, complete objectives, and then extract before disaster strikes. The planet itself is often your deadliest enemy. Sudden storms can destroy poorly built shelters, freezing temperatures can kill an unprepared explorer, and dangerous wildlife constantly threatens your progress. Because every expedition starts fresh, each decision matters. Do you spend time building a stronger base or rush your objective before conditions worsen? The tension created by this system keeps every session engaging. Combined with deep crafting mechanics and cooperative play, Icarus delivers a survival experience where preparation and teamwork truly matter. The Witcher 2: Assassins of Kings. Overshadowed by its legendary sequel, The Witcher 2 remains one of the most underrated RPGs of its generation. Unlike many modern open-world games, it focuses on meaningful choices rather than sheer map size. Combat demands preparation and strategy. Charging into battle without the right potions, traps, or signs often ends badly. Every fight feels dangerous, forcing you to study enemy weaknesses and adapt your approach. What truly sets the game apart is its branching storyline. Early decisions don't simply change dialogue, they completely reshape major sections of the game. Entire quests, characters, and locations can play out differently depending on your choices. Political conspiracies, betrayals, and shifting alliances keep the story engaging from start to finish. Even after all these years, The Witcher 2 remains a masterclass in player-driven storytelling. At first glance, Palworld looks like a familiar monster collecting game. Then you realize your creatures can operate factories, mine resources, manufacture weapons, and fight alongside you with assault rifles. That's when things get weird. In the best possible way, the gameplay loop is surprisingly addictive. You capture pals, assign them jobs around your base, automate production lines, and gradually build a self-sustaining empire. Meanwhile, you're exploring a massive world filled with dangerous bosses, hidden dungeons, and new creatures to collect. Combat constantly evolves as your growing army unlocks stronger abilities and more efficient ways to survive. What makes Palworld stand out is how many systems are working together at once. It's part survival game, part creature collector, part automation simulator, and somehow it all works. The result is one of the most addictive open-world experiences released in recent years. Windrose. Windrose delivers the pirate adventure many players have been waiting years to experience. It starts with betrayal, shipwrecks, and survival on remote islands, but before long you're commanding fleets, raiding enemy vessels, and fighting for control of the seas. The best part is how seamlessly everything connects. One moment you're gathering resources, building a coastal outpost, and upgrading equipment. The next you're sailing into a naval battle, firing cannons from every side while trying to board an enemy ship before it sinks. Combat isn't just button mashing either. Boss encounters borrow ideas from Souls-like games, demanding careful timing and positioning. Add co-op into the mix, and the chaos becomes even more entertaining, with entire crews coordinating attacks while trying to avoid becoming fish food. For players who wanted a true pirate sandbox instead of a watered-down version, Windrose delivers exactly that. Middle-earth, Shadow of Mordor. Shadow of Mordor's greatest weapon isn't its combat system or its open world, it's the Nemesis system. Every orc captain remembers your encounters. Defeat one and he might return covered in scars. Lose to one and he'll climb the ranks, grow stronger, and mock you the next time you meet. Suddenly, random enemies start feeling like personal rivals. The combat itself is incredibly satisfying, blending the fluid counter-based action of Batman Arkham with brutal executions and supernatural abilities. Talion can teleport across battlefields, dominate enemies, and turn entire groups of orcs against each other. What starts as simple revenge gradually turns into a power fantasy, where you're manipulating enemy armies from within. The world isn't huge by modern standards, but it's packed with systems constantly generating memorable moments. Few open-world games create stories this naturally. Most games tell you who the hero is. Kenshi doesn't. You enter the world as nobody. Maybe you're a starving drifter. Maybe you're a slave. Maybe you're moments away from being eaten alive by something terrifying. The game genuinely doesn't care. That's what makes it special. There are no quest markers telling you where to go and no main story pushing you forward. Instead, every goal is one you create yourself. You can recruit companions, build settlements, establish trade routes, become a warlord, or spend dozens of hours simply trying not to starve. The world continues moving whether you're ready or not. Factions wage wars, bandits attack caravans, and entire regions can become battlefields without your involvement. The graphics may look dated, but the freedom Kenshi offers is still almost unmatched. Every player ends up creating a completely different story. Dead Rising turns a shopping mall into one of gaming's greatest playgrounds. The zombie hordes are massive, but what makes the game fun is how you deal with them. Nearly everything you find can become a weapon. Grab a guitar, a lawnmower, a cash register, a toy sword, or whatever else happens to be nearby and start improvising. Combat is chaotic, ridiculous, and endlessly entertaining. But beneath the humor is a surprisingly clever survival system. Time never stops moving. Survivors need help, missions expire, and important events happen whether you're there or not. Every decision matters because you simply can't do everything in a single playthrough. Do you save civilians? Chase the main story? Explore the mall for better gear? The constant pressure creates tension while the absurd weapons keep everything fun. Even today, few zombie games capture that balance as well as Dead Rising. Far Cry 2. Far Cry 2 is the black sheep of the series, and that's exactly why it stands out. You play as a mercenary caught between two warring factions in Africa, and the game refuses to treat you like a hero. Guns jam at the worst possible moment, vehicles break down in the middle of nowhere, and malaria attacks can hit during firefights. Instead of smoothing out the rough edges, the game builds tension from them. The real star is the world itself, driving through dusty savannas at sunset, sneaking along rivers under moonlight, and watching fires spread through dry grass creates an atmosphere few open-world shooters have matched. Combat feels improvisational and dangerous, not like a power fantasy. Outposts repopulate over time, forcing you to think about routes and resources instead of clearing icons forever. It's uncomfortable by design, but that discomfort gives Far Cry 2 a personality modern Ubisoft games often lack. Mercenaries, playground of destruction. Back in 2005, Mercenaries was already doing things many open-world games still struggle with: total destruction and pure player chaos. Set in a war-torn North Korea, you work for different factions, switch alliances on the fly, and hunt high-value targets for cash. The gameplay is gloriously explosive. Tanks, helicopters, trucks, and stolen military hardware are all fair game, and calling in airstrikes never stops being satisfying. Blow up a bridge, level a building, steal a vehicle, then escape while the battlefield collapses around you. That's the loop. The destruction system was shockingly ambitious for its time, and the game constantly encouraged experimentation instead of stealthy restraint. You can see the DNA of later sandbox games like Just Cause all over it. It feels older now, sure, but the reckless energy still works because the game understands one simple thing: destruction is fun. Ghost of Yotei feels like the spiritual successor to Ghost of Tsushima, but with a colder, harsher identity. This time the setting is 1603 Hokkaido, and the story follows Atsu, whose revenge-driven journey feels more intimate and direct than Jin Sakai's. Exploration is the real highlight. Snow-covered forests, volcanic regions, coastal cliffs, and windswept plains each have their own mood, and the dynamic weather system constantly changes how the world feels. Combat builds on Tsushima's fluid swordplay with new stances and more aggressive enemy encounters. Fights are fast, precise, and cinematic without feeling automated. Like its predecessor, the game turns wandering into part of the experience. You're not just chasing markers, you're following foxes, climbing shrines, tracking enemies through blizzards, and stumbling onto duels in remote corners of the map. The Division 2 transforms Washington, D.C. into a detailed post-apocalyptic battlefield, and the city design is absurdly good. Landmarks like the Capitol and Lincoln Memorial aren't just scenery, they're combat arenas built around cover, verticality, and flanking routes. Gameplay revolves around tactical third-person shooting and build crafting. Cover matters, positioning matters, and different skill setups can completely change how you approach encounters. One build turns you into a drone and turret engineer, another into a close-range shotgun bruiser, another into a support specialist keeping teammates alive. The loot grind works because experimentation is rewarding. New gear isn't just bigger numbers, it opens different playstyles. Co-op is where the game really shines, with enemy AI adapting to group size and firefights becoming much more dynamic. Even solo though, the world feels alive with patrols, factions, and constantly shifting control points. Monster Hunter Wilds. Monster Hunter Wilds is the moment the series fully commits to a living open world. Monsters don't just wait in arenas anymore. They roam ecosystems, fight each other, migrate during storms, and react to changing weather and time of day. Every hunt becomes a story. You might track a monster through a sandstorm, lure it into another predator's territory, then use the chaos to land a perfect trap. The environment isn't background decoration, it's part of the hunt. Weapon variety remains one of the series' greatest strengths. A greatsword player is timing huge, deliberate hits, while an insect glaive player is vaulting through the air like an acrobat. Same hunt, completely different game feel. Progression is deeply satisfying too, because every monster teaches you something before eventually becoming part of your gear set. Wilds finally makes exploration, ecology, and combat feel like one connected system instead of separate modes stitched together. Green Hell. Green Hell takes survival mechanics and turns them into a medical emergency simulator in the middle of the Amazon rainforest. Hunger and thirst are just the beginning. You're also dealing with parasites, infections, venom, hallucinations, and psychological breakdowns. The body system is what makes the game memorable. Every wound matters. You inspect limbs manually, remove leeches, bandage cuts, treat fevers, and sometimes perform desperate jungle surgery just to stay alive another day. It sounds brutal because it is. The rainforest is dense, handcrafted, and full of useful plants and hidden dangers. Learning which mushrooms heal you and which ones ruin your life becomes part of the progression. The story mode adds a stronger narrative drive, but even in pure survival mode, the game creates constant tension through exploration alone. Crackdown. Crackdown was experimenting with superhero-style open worlds before that became standard. You're an agent cleaning up Pacific City, but the real hook is how your powers evolve through play. Drive more to improve driving skill, shoot more to improve accuracy, jump around rooftops to become absurdly agile. That progression changes the entire feel of the city. Early on, climbing a building is a chore. Later, you're bounding across skyscrapers in giant superpowered leaps while explosions erupt below. It's one of the clearest examples of an open world becoming more fun as your abilities grow. The city itself is compact but well structured, with different gangs controlling distinct territories. Combat mixes gunfights, explosives, and vertical movement in a way that still feels satisfying. And in co-op, the game turns into pure chaos. Two superpowered agents launching vehicles across the skyline and leveling city blocks for fun. Crackdown may not get discussed much today, but its progression-driven sandbox design influenced a lot of games that came after it.